I can think of that. I think that. Go ahead and start whenever over there. Yeah. Cool. All right, man. Um, hey, everybody. Welcome to Offbeat. My name is Sergio, and of course, we're inside of Live and Quasi Studios, brought to you by All This Entertainment. And today, I am with Sean Crimmins, who is the owner and consultant over CarpeAluminumRV, and you can check them out on CarpeAluminumRV.com. And so, really, today we're just kind of gonna get into how not just he got into being selling Airstreams and high grade luxury RVs, but just in general, like, because the way you talk about sales and like in general, like it's just something that seems to come very naturally for you, but also like you you sound like you enjoy it, which is really nice. Which is very,
Absolutely.
like so I mean, so tell us how you kind of got into sales. Like, what was that, like something you always did? Was that something that you kind of just jumped into? Like, what was that like?
Well, growing up in Indiana, I actually had a lawnmower in our garage, and I started going door to door and just mowing people's yards after school.
Yeah.
And then that grew into a lawn service, which grew into an aquatic service. I actually sprayed lakes for weed and algae control,
Wow.
stocked fish, installed fountains all over Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky from the time I was 19 until I was 27.
Ooh, that sounds like a. So was it just something that seemed to like gradually like happen as you're like, oh, well, I can offer this because I want to learn this, and like it kind of just like kind of.
Well, yeah, it just kind of evolved. I actually cut grass with my stepmother's associate that was selling beepers and car phones,
All right, all
and
right.
he had a lawn service. So I met him after school before I had my driver's license, and he had a major lawn service. We had about 30 trucks, and so we did landscaping. We also did fertilizer treatments,
Yeah.
as well as cutting grass and plowing snow in the winter.
Jeez.
So between my freshman and sophomore year in college, I had the opportunity to work for a service that was an aquatic service, and ended up going back to Rick, who I cut grass with, and said, let's buy this guy out. So we did that. And at 19, I had to go in front of boards, lake management boards, to convince them to use me.
Yeah.
And so at a very young age, I was very confident and delivered what I said I was going to do.
Yeah. Which only makes sense because that just seems like, hey, if you say you're gonna do it, might as well.
That's right.
And it like, especially we were talking about this earlier, was just one of those things where it seems so easy for people to say that they know how to do something without actually checking the credibility of what they say they're able to do, and like.
Correct.
Oh.
Yes. So, especially now that I'm in the RV industry, there's a lot of people that want to or gravitate towards selling RVs because
Yeah.
they're an expensive item.
And it's like one and done. Oh, that'll last me like 7 months out of the year or something like
Right.
that.
Right. So, whereas I take a more long-term approach, I want a lifetime relationship with whoever buys anything from me.
Yeah, of course. And that only makes sense because especially if you have one life to live but a long lifetime to do it, like if you're able to sell different things to your niche group of people that are like, "Oh man, I trust what you say," and that gives people just a reason to want to keep buying from you no matter what it is.
Well, I've developed a great network in the industry across the nation
Yeah.
with people that fix them
Yeah.
and can also advise me. I've got a great relationship with the Airstream factory. So when a pre-owned Airstream goes on the market, if it's within 3 years old, there is remaining warranty that transfers to the next owner. So I can help
Yeah.
facilitate that process as well.
Which I imagine cuts down on a lot of the headache that a lot of people might endure whenever they're trying to either sell or buy. Like, what are they getting? Like, what does it look like? Because we've seen a couple of the different air sims that you do with some of the sellers that are like upgrading them and stuff. But I mean, like, I imagine that's a huge headache off of somebody knowing that somebody like you is looking for the best bang for their buck and then like, oh, well, if I wanted to do this again, you mean you're still gonna help me?
Right.
That's kind of cool, you know? Like, yeah,
Right. So when life changes for everyone.
yeah,
You might have more children, so you need a bigger one.
yeah,
Or, you know, one person may decide not to travel anymore, so
hmm,
might want to downsize
yeah.
or just get out.
And
So,
I mean, you have so many different types from like 30 footers all the way down to like what like
16
the
foot.
16 foots, and those are like the smaller like camper like outdoorsy types person. Like those are really nice. Like, and I mean you can definitely check out some of the different campers that he has on his website, CarpeAluminumRV.com, and I'm not sure where the videos that we had worked on are, but you have a clickable on your website towards RV Universe. Is that correct?
Correct.
And then like there's a whole mess of more RVs that you actually have that aren't necessarily in where you're at. There's just nationwide that you're selling them. And
Correct. So, yes, I function a lot like a real estate broker on wheels,
okay,
meaning if you have an Airstream for sale and it's undercover
hmm,
or you're not paying for storage, I can basically function with you to help you sell it. We'll advertise it for you. We'll coordinate a virtual tour
nice.
with a potential buyer so they can actually talk to you, the seller,
Hmm,
and you can tell them all the history about it.
hmm,
I don't want to have to, make up a story.
yeah,
It's a lot easier to hear it directly from the owner,
hmm,
and then you, as the buyer, can make a confident decision to either move forward or look elsewhere.
yeah. And then even having you as just a mediator kind of thing, just to be able to say like,
Correct. So I'm an independent third party. It can be a very emotional decision,
mm,
either to sell or to buy.
yeah. I mean, like, yeah, it's like you're buying a house kind of thing.
Right.
Like you kind of got to know what you're wanting to do.
Hmm.
Like, and it's not a boat. It's one of those things like you can actually form a lifestyle in there, and like whether it's like luxury on the weekend or like you actually take it on the road and just live in it.
Well, and a lot of people are working
Yeah.
remotely now.
Hmm.
So with Starlink,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
you can go anywhere in the U.S. and still have access to work. Or
Yeah.
I have a lot of clients that are traveling nurses,
Hmm.
so their per diem pays for their
Yeah.
hotel on wheels, and they don't have to pack.
Yeah. Well, you know, and I imagine that says a lot for people that are, you know, like traveling is a big deal, especially nowadays. There's a lot of things that people are unsure of as far as like travel, air travel, you know, train travel or anything like that. It's a good way to feel like you have more control over like where you're at and where you stay and how you want to, again, like live your life. Like it is a big decision, but I myself would not mind going out along the United States with one of these things. Like we talked about it a little. We're doing like short films and all that stuff, and like doing like showcasing just what the Airstreams are, because they're a luxury, but they're nostalgic. You know, like when I see them, I think of like older movies, and I think of like Raising Arizona. I think of, you know, there's a lot of different things that I think of, and I'm like, man, I remember seeing when I was a kid, and I'm like, that looks so cool, you know? And then and I think I was telling you whenever we first went there to film the first day, I was like, man, I've always wanted to like be around these things, because I'd never been in one until like we met. So I'm like,
Okay.
it was kind of like an interesting like dream come true of like, man, I get to work with these things. That's kind of cool. Like,
Yeah. Well, the nice thing about a pre-owned Airstream as opposed to a brand new one is the first owner takes the depreciation via fund,
hmm,
whatever, but the second owner gets the benefit of having one that's already been shaken down.
yeah,
And I want to make sure there's no surprises for the second owner,
hmm,
but they are very slow to depreciate,
yeah,
slower
okay,
than a Jeep. So it's basically if there is an investment on wheels that you can capitalize on, and when you're finished with it by being able to sell it.
yeah,
Any other brand, they sell brand new ones every day on payments,
yeah,
and it's really hard to sell any other brand. Whereas these, the price goes up every year, so the pre-owned gap gets a little bit wider.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely beneficial to buy a pre-owned one, unless you're just adamantly opposed to buying anything pre-owned.
And you get a classic.
That's right.
And that's one of those things too. Like I think, especially like you kind of said it earlier, where like more people are have a little bit of money. They have like per diem and stuff that their job pays for it or something like that. But they're also like TikTok stars and like YouTubers and all that stuff that are. There's a lot more wealth of money that people are making, and like a lifestyle like having an Airstream can help make that lifestyle a little bit more simple, because like being in one, we were joking about it. Like there could be a podcast right here, there could be like a little show right here. Like there's a lot of different things. Like even doing like a cooking show would make sense inside of one, because there are accessibilities as far as like the countertops and spaces and all that. Like it's pretty cool. Like it's kind of its own set on wheels, which is kind of nice.
I actually met Chris McDonough over the phone, who has a YouTube channel called The Interview Room.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris, for 3 years, took his 2021 33 Classic, brand new, out to high-profile murder cases. And he's a retired homicide detective. So he has over 300,000 subscribers worldwide, where he goes on scene and interviews the current detectives, and basically you get all the information about a high-profile murder case that you would not get from the news.
Oh, that's cool, because it's definitely like there's some things that he doesn't have to keep under the lid. Basically, they would have to, because it's an ongoing investigation, and he would know what he's looking for.
Yeah, so
that's cool.
So he reached out to me because he eventually wanted to have something bigger or a home, but basically they were living in it full time, and as he was broadcasting. So all that to say is, I just worked with Sergio on doing a commercial for his YouTube channel to be able to let people know how we can help them.
Yeah.
And I have helped people from Sweden, Canada, buy them in the U.S. and take them wherever.
That's cool.
So.
And then it's just a relationship that keeps growing, because you're trying to maintain and cultivate that relationship from not just having it, but getting rid of it, even finding another one and stuff. It became, like you had said, it's kind of like it was like an heirloom that you could pass to your children. Like I think like you had mentioned something before that kind of clicked in my head.
Well, I can tell you, out of all the Airstreams ever made since 1931, and it was the first RV in the U.S.
Okay.
So Wally Byam worked with the Wright brothers to come up with a design. He wanted something that was aerodynamic, but something that a normal person could pull behind a car at that time, and be able to take it across the country and not have to stay in a hotel. And so out of all the Airstreams sold since 1931, over 70% are still roadworthy today. I don't know of any other manufacturer that can say that.
Yeah, I mean, like not even new cars like can say that. Like a car from like 2005 will be run down within the next like 20 years.
If that.
Like, yeah, if that. Like, because everything's electronic. I mean, like, it seems like they're getting more, like, high-tech from the Airstreams, like, but they have, like, it's tech that makes sense, like the solar-powered, like, they changed to the types of composite floors.
Correct.
And then, so, like, they keep on changing things that just make them better and hold more value.
That's right. So they make minor improvements every year. And in post-2020, January 2020, they changed over from 5/8" tug and groove plywood, that's marine grade plywood, to now composite, like Trex wood for your deck.
Yeah.
So there is not a piece in there that is going to go away from you. So you can basically will it to your children.
And it's like less leaks, less things that can go wrong, and like just last longer.
Yeah. Over time, it's any other brand of travel trailer is going to catch a lot more wind. So you're going to use more fuel to pull other types, but this one pulls more smooth than any other trailer on the market.
And I will say, when we were doing the drone footage, like, because I've lived around campers my whole life. My stepdad used to take us on camping trips all the time. So like like it's definitely, you can definitely tell when you're pulling it on from the car, like how much like how much resistance you get depending on what it is. Because I remember feeling it like going like back and forth sometimes when we were in the wind or like going like 60
Oh
miles
yeah.
an hour. And you don't really, I mean, we don't we're going fast with yours, but you can already tell even like going like 15, 20 miles an hour, like oh wow, that's smooth. That is smooth.
Well, actually, the faster you go, the smoother it gets. It's like an airplane.
So we won't tell you to go faster, but just to let you know that the faster you go, it's safer. No, I mean, like,
Well,
yeah, it's
I have
not
a,
safer, but
I have a lot of my clients in Texas. You know, the speed limit in Texas is
it's like
75,
85 depending where you're at.
85
I
depending on
love
where you're
it.
at. But they're like, hey, it doesn't start flying until 75. Just it's like a little cushion back there.
That sounds like a great like commercial line. It's like, and you won't even drag on the highway. like,
Right.
like just watch like you can have like a whole commercial of like other RVs like flipping over because of the wind and stuff, and then you just have the Airstream just.
Excuse me.
Nah, no, you good, man. You good.
But yeah, so when I pull my boat, I have a 25-foot boat. When I pull I get about 9 miles a gallon behind my Tahoe. When I'm pulling my Airstream, I get about 14 miles a gallon. So it's
Nice.
the aerodynamics of it is just amazing. I mean, it has a rear view camera, so when I go to change lanes, it just kind of becomes one big
Yeah.
unit. You don't even think about it being separate from your tow vehicle.
And you do it so seamlessly too. Like I told you that day when we were riding, like we backed it up probably like I don't know 10 times something like that, going back and forth on that road. But like dang you're good with that. Like good with the trailer for sure. Like
Yeah.
I mean I'm not a guy that does trailer hauling, but like I've watched a lot of videos of people doing trailer hauling and you do that pretty well. Like it.
Well, I grew up on a farm, so
Yeah.
I pretty much learned how to deal with trailers at a young age.
So if
it
you
helps.
didn't know, then it would be a problem.
Well,
Yeah.
it's actually with an Airstream, the shorter any trailer is, it's going to turn faster in reverse.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. Yeah.
So a dual axle is going to turn slower,
Mm-hmm.
so you have more time to react. But I tell everyone, slow is definitely your friend.
Yeah.
So you get in trouble when you get in a hurry.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
And
But
and an Airstream is made out of aluminum, so it will dent like a beer can.
so going 75 miles an hour, as smooth as it still is pretty dangerous.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't recommend high speeds, but I can tell you, it's just once you get used to it, even if you haven't pulled before, it's not a steep learning curve. And if you turn your whole body around in reverse, when you're going in reverse and actually steer the trailer, obviously you need to be aware of your vehicle,
Yeah.
where your hood is, so you're not driving into something. But practice in a parking lot, and you'll be amazed when you're going slow. You can basically steer that trailer.
Yeah. Jeez. Man, I'm glad we were able to talk about this because I very much enjoyed like the conversation when we first met at your home. Like went through a couple of the RVs and stuff, and you kept kind of telling me about it. It was it's just one of those things like you like to work with people that you can kind of understand their story and like hear stuff what they're doing, and like I like the passion of which in which you talk about whenever we're talking about like the Airstreams and stuff. And there's like it's nice to hear that excitement, and it like gets me excited, especially like as a videographer and stuff. When we were doing stuff, I was like he was excited about it. Like we gotta show him that we can do this. Like
That's right.
And like it I mean, I hope your experience was good. We enjoyed it.
It's
We
been a
enjoyed
great
it.
experience. Sergio and his team have been very, very accommodating to my schedule, and definitely have followed through with everything they said they were going to do.
Appreciate that, man. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more to Sean about just not just what he's doing now, but what the future looks like. Different events that you're looking to hold. Different how you wanted your business to grow. Because I'm sure one day you want to have like a whole army of people that works on the Airstreams and stuff.
Well, we're
So-
definitely going to have. I'm going to have more consultants going to rallies, meeting people, and just letting them know when life changes, we can help them with the transition, find their Airstream a new home.
Heck yeah. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. So I'm with Sean Crimmins. He's the owner, operator, consultant at CarpeAluminumRV.com. I'm Sergio inside of Quasi Studios, brought to you by All This Entertainment. We'll be right back. That that sounded so heavenly. It's like I got to take this. Is like
My
this is a great.
my harp text notification because the beep started driving me crazy. So
That makes sense. Oh man, text tones are annoying nowadays. But did you ever have, whenever you had like a phone like in the 90s or the early 2000s, did you like buy ringtones and stuff?
oh yeah,
Yeah. That was like such a great time, and like they took it away and I'm like, what the crap?
Right.
Like dude, I feel like there was somebody that made a killing off of making just ringtones.
no kidding.
Like, but man. But hey, what's up? Appreciate you hanging out with us here on Offbeat. I'm Sergio inside of Quasi Studios, brought to you by All This Entertainment. I'm sitting here with Sean Crimmins, who is the owner, operator, consultant of CarpeAluminumRV, and you can check out them at CarpeAluminumRV.com. Check out the different Airstreams that they sell. that are not just for like luxury, but like if you're a weekender, you like to go out, have a good time, but still be relaxed while you're out hiking, out swimming, or out boating or anything like that. Check out the Airstreams. It's one of those things where you're like, it's like you didn't know that you wanted it, but it's a lifetime worth of excitement and fun. Like, and we've been talking with Sean just about like how different his sales experience is than a lot of other people that you might meet that sell different RVs and stuff. Because he is a full service person, y'all. Like, I mean, like if you buy an Airstream from him, he's not just there like, hey man, give you the keys and that's it. He's full service. He has so much information that will save you from having to either go on YouTube and figure it out yourself, be stressed out. He's a great resource to be able to make sure that you get the best experience out of what it is that you buy. I mean,
Right. Well, there's a lot of information about any product you buy, and it's always frustrating to have to read the instructions.
yeah,
I call them destructions. But all that to say is, because I've been there and coached people selling them initially for the dealer in Mississippi, probably 85% of my sales did not land in Mississippi. They landed in another state.
interesting.
So while I was there, I would actually do FaceTimes on brand new ones with buyers from Minnesota
Yeah,
or New York. So a lot of times I'd never even meet my buyer.
yeah,
And then I would do a FaceTime with them when they received it, so that way I could walk them through it from starting on the outside, walking through the inside, just make sure they're confident,
yeah.
and then encouraging them to camp close to home.
hmm
So that way they don't have to try to think of everything to pack in there.
Yeah,
And then if you forget something, you can go home and figure it out before you take that big journey that's 2,000 miles away.
it's like practice makes perfect.
That's
kind of
right.
thing. Like just make sure you know how to camp correctly before you leave permanently.
Yeah.
yeah,
So I give you tips and tricks, and if your hot water is not working at 8 o'clock on a Saturday night, I take the call
yeah,
and I'll help you. Make sure you don't have a frustrating experience right out of the gate.
yeah. And so you said earlier like you've had that experience. Like, I mean, so do you feel like some of the practices in which you make into your processes, do you feel like that you've been treated those ways that you're like you don't want somebody to have to experience? Like,
Right. Well, when you spend a lot of money with something, I think we all expect a high level
a
of
turnover,
service.
yeah.
And we don't always get it,
Mm-hmm.
either at a fancy restaurant
Mm-hmm.
or with a luxury item.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I, after 8 years of selling Airstreams, finally bought one myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I've actually pulled it 18,000 miles this year.
Jeez.
And the average moves about 6,000 miles a year.
Yeah.
So I definitely am hands-on and enjoy making friends and keeping them.
Yeah. And which makes sense because we were talking about getting into kind of like because you do different types of events, and you had said that you had just had one in San Antonio. Yeah, was that where you were at?
It was actually north of San Antonio and Fredericksburg.
Okay, all right.
We were in the hill country, and I had my third client appreciation event where we had Airstreams and other rigs that came in from all over the country, and we got together. I had live music.
Mm-hmm.
We did some workshops, tips and tricks to be able to help other owners, and we had great camaraderie, great food,
Yeah.
and also we stayed at Artray RV Resort, which was a winery,
Nice.
brewery,
Yeah.
and distillery all in one.
Cool. Yeah, I remember you sent me some pictures. It looked nice. That was solid.
Definitely first class.
Cool. Very cool. So before we get if we run out of time or anything, I wanted to kind of get you to kind of talk about like your services, not to like what are the different things that you do that help as a resource for people that purchase or sell their Airstream.
Right. So our forte is we help buyers and sellers connect. So right now I have our marketing director is Justin, and he handles the new listings that come in. So he helps me keep everything straight. He handles all the advertisements. as well as the Facebook posts to be able to get our new listings out there, get them seen. And so what I do is when I have interest, then I'll talk to the potential buyer, then arrange either a FaceTime with them and the seller, or with them and me. If it's in my possession, then I'll take them through it, because 90% of the time you aren't just right down the road. It just happens to be across the United States. So what I do is I want to make sure everybody's confident. There are no surprises. So we'll go through service history directly with the seller, and then the buyer has the opportunity to make an offer with me, and I keep it seamless. If they need financing, I have 20-year financing on any Airstream that's less than 14 years old and over $50,000. So I can also help with the paperwork. And then after the sale, once the buyer takes possession, then they call me for any maintenance or operational questions. If they want to do additions, if they want to upgrade, I actually have trusted technicians that I can refer them to for that.
Cool.
I also work with the dealer that I used to work for extended service plans. If they want everything but batteries, brakes, and tires covered nationwide, they can buy a service plan, because it's not if, it's when an RV breaks.
Yeah.
It's going through an earthquake every time you move it. So it's really pretty amazing that there aren't a lot more problems, but definitely our Airstreams paid attention to that.
I mean, yeah, as far as just the build and the fact that you were saying they kind of do like little minor upgrades throughout the years and stuff, like I imagine that like being able to make sure it's as smooth of a ride as possible was like a probably big deal. Like in the beginning, like, yeah.
Yeah, any other brand's gonna have leaf spring. So, you've been behind a boat trailer or another brand of RV where you see them bounce when they go over a railroad track.
Yeah.
Well, an Airstream has independent suspension. So each wheel has its own shock.
Yeah.
And it hugs the road just like a car does.
Nice.
So a lot of that vibration is not transferred to the trailer. It's absorbed right there at the axle.
You say independent suspension, and my mind just jumps straight back to my cousin Vinny when in the episode, because it has an independent suspension.
Exactly.
Like, oh man, like, yeah. Anyways, sorry.
Yeah.
So I imagine like you probably get a lot of weird like phone calls like in the middle of the night with different people that might have problems with their Airstream. What's kind of a weird question that you've gotten?
I get all kinds of weird questions like, how or why doesn't this light work? And it doesn't work. You just don't know how to turn it on, because unfortunately Airstream doesn't label on and off. So even when it comes to something like that, I definitely don't.
But then you answer the phone, which is even beautiful.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I answer the phone 7 days a week. I enjoy helping people long distance, and at the end of the day, we all want to be happy with our purchase, and that's what I try to ensure.
Yeah, definitely. And it definitely shows, again, like being able to look up, again, CarpeAluminumRV.com. You can check out all the different listings that they have. They give you a lot of details as far as what the history actually is. And like you were saying, no surprises. So it's a great thing that people that are just like browsing and stuff can get that information, because that's probably the main questions that people are going to have. And it seems like you answer a lot of those questions, like not just what's on it, but what's the history like. And I think that's that's cool. That's good. And we'll get more interactive with your website and like, do some like virtual pictures and stuff, like, like I always love watching they're more RV websites and stuff that do, or not RV websites, car websites where you can customize like different cars, colors, and all that stuff. It's like I imagine that like doing that with like Airstream or something like that. It's like, okay, well, I want this base, and I want this on the inside, and I want this. And
maybe integrate that with the inventory.
Exactly. Like, yeah, like
because people do modify them.
Yeah, and so like it gives people like you end up, because you were saying that you work with other like mechanics and like auto shops and stuff. So like people that know how to refurbish and fabricate those types of things, like whether it be furniture, whether it be the machinery that it has, like that'd be kind of cool. I mean, like it's a set on wheels. Like
Right.
that's cool.
I can tell you, I'm having big fun. I've been doing this for, I think, 33 months now,
Yeah.
and sold over 500 nationwide.
Oof. Dang.
So it gets pretty busy sometimes, but I definitely am responsive.
So as far as like the traveling and everything, where's a place that you feel like selling Airstreams has gotten you to a point where you're like, oh wow, this is great. Like,
Well, I can tell you, in the spring, this past spring, I had one brought to me, and it had a punch list, so I had to take it back to the dealer to get fixed. And I pulled off the road a couple times and got in the back of it and made calls. And I got to looking around and I thought, what am I waiting for? This is a mobile office. So I called my accountant and he said, absolutely, you can use it as a write-off for your business.
yeah.
So I definitely have been conscientious of being honest, no matter if it was my first day or today.
Yeah.
I'm never going to tell you something that's not true
Yeah.
in order to make the sale happen.
Yeah.
And now that I don't own them, I own mine and it's not for sale. But all the other ones, I don't have pressure because I'm not buying and selling them. I'm facilitating the sale. I just want everybody to be comfortable
Yeah.
and make sure that they're making a confident purchase.
And having you also, I'd imagine that like it might cut down on the time that it takes a seller to sell or somebody to buy one as well, since you
Right.
bring all that information, you bring that to the table.
Well, and I've been, since 2000, I started in 2016. I actually sold one my first day.
Nice.
And I actually paid a social media marketing company out of Alabama to promote me on Facebook. And I waited prior to forming the page, I would wait sometimes 3 or 4 months to sell a trade.
Dang.
And went to 2 to 3 days.
Yeah.
So the word of mouth on Facebook, you can read all my reviews. Since then, definitely take pride in what I do, and it shows.
Yeah, it definitely does definitely show. So what kind of steps do you feel that you're going to be taking next to kind of like, because you had told me originally that you have a big seller's market and buyer's market between like the ages like 45 and like 65. So
Well, when I first started in the business in 2016, the average age was 65.
okay.
That was across the board for any Airstream purchase. Now it's 55 post-COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot more younger people are buying. They're seeing the benefits. I've actually had some younger couples that have purchased them and used them as Airbnbs, and were able to pay them off really fast.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different uses for them because they're so iconic. They attract a lot of attention, and just like you, Sergio, most people have never seen inside of them.
Mm-hmm.
So once they see that and they see the quality, they get it.
Yeah, it's kind of like like the TARDIS. Like it's bigger on the inside. Like you don't expect to go from the outside into what you go into, and it's very cozy. It's very like you can feel like the element of luxury when you go in there, like the seating, the cloth, the countertops, the sinks, and all that. Like all the little fixtures seems to really like bring that sense of elevation to the lifestyle, and like it definitely I feel like it would give somebody any type of excitement just to be able to know that you're at the part of your life where you're purchasing one or getting to a point that you can have that conversation of purchasing one.
Well, and you're part of a professional community.
Yeah.
And there is no nicer group than the Airstream owners. I can tell you, case in point, I went with a buyer from Mississippi to Louisiana. He took me with him as his buyer's agent to make sure it was the deal that he thought it was going to be. Mm-hmm. And on the way back, we lost the water pump in his Ford. And we made it to the split right there at Slidell on I-10. And we pulled off the road, and within 5 minutes, an Airstream owner stopped and happened to know me and said, "Hey, do you guys need any help?"
That's
and
cool.
within 30 minutes, we had 2 more. So it's really a tight-knit community, and everybody's all about helping each other.
That's cool. That's cool. And like it's like it reminds me of like the Jeep community, or like any the motorcycle community or something. You see another one, it's like you're like, oh, these people can't be too bad.
That's right.
Like you're like yeah, like
That's right.
that's cool.
Have you ever seen the big red numbers
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
outside?
Hmm.
That actually is their membership number, the owner's membership number.
Okay,
And that's part of the International Caravan Club
that's very
that Wally
cool.
Byam started. And so when you're going down the road and you see those big red numbers, Airstreamer to Airstreamer, they can look each other up and they'll know exactly who they just passed.
That's both very cool and kind of creepy at the same time.
It is a little bit.
Like, but I mean, like, I don't think, and I don't want to put this out there, but I don't think there's any serial killers that own an Airstream.
Right.
But
Well,
but there's always a movie to be made, of course, or a TV show or something like that. Like,
way to plant the seeds, Sergio.
hey, we're an entertainment production company, so that's what we do. If anybody gets the idea, hey, just 10% perpetuity, that's fine.
Gotcha.
Like, hey, but no, like I think that's very cool. Like, and it seems like that kind of is like a byproduct too of like what people get as an experience, like because you do put on events for your appreciation of your customers, and you do have, and it's not even just in one central area. You do it in a bunch of different cities.
Yes, actually, I have different rally groups that have reached out to see if I have time to come to their rally and be able to tell their group, how we can help people.
Yeah.
Life changes all the time.
Yeah.
Health, transfer for work. There's all kinds of reasons to have to sell. And it's just like a diamond.
Yeah.
It's hard to sell your own diamond.
Because
So-
you might not know all the bells and whistles to help somebody understand what they're buying.
Well, individual to individual on a big ticket item, there's a lot of trust involved.
Yeah.
And it's a very emotional purchase. So I take the emotion out of it. Just make sure everybody has the correct information in writing,
Yeah.
so there's no question about how we move forward.
Yeah, and like you said, like people make those decisions with their head and their heart, where it's like you make it with feeling, but you have to be logical in what it is that you're feeling.
That's right.
Like, and it's good to be able to have somebody that can create an atmosphere of not being so emotional, because that disconnect really helps sometimes, especially when it's like, oh, I'm feeling nostalgic, or I'm feeling like sentimental over something. It makes it easier to have someone be like, but you got to do this. Okay. Like, yeah.
Right. Well, that's why I call myself a consultant and not a broker.
Yeah.
One, I don't buy and sell. So I don't have the pressure
Yeah.
to sell this one because I've got so much money in it.
Yeah.
Two, because it's a big ticket item, there's always emotion involved, whether it's a house or a new boat, whatever. So it's nice to have support
Yeah.
on both sides.
And it seems like be the thing that we keep coming back to, is just feeling like, you don't want somebody to experience something they've had before that somebody didn't deliver, something didn't give. And it's, again, very reassuring to know, like, they can call you at any time to be like, oh, something's messed up with the water, something's messed up with the pump, or something like that. Like that's a big deal. Like, it sounds small, but it's a huge deal when it comes to like being kind of like coerced in some way sometime at some point in your life, and you're like, well, what the crap? Like, and then it's like, oh man, this person that I least expected to be like, because since you're selling something so luxurious in a way, like you kind of expect a certain level of like snobbery in a way, and like it's refreshing to know like you are creating that experience. And I think that's a big deal, and we keep on kind of going back to that, where it's like you've been there before, so as a customer you wouldn't want somebody to have to deal with that same crap that you would have had to deal with before. Like,
Right. Well, it's no different than buying a Geo Metro
a Geo Metro, yeah.
or a Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
So it just comes with different expectations, and the Airstream is definitely the Rolls Royce of the travel trailer community.
It's nice. It's very nice. And if you get a chance, you got to check out just Airstreams in general, because they're cool. Like, I mean, especially if you're looking for a goal to have, like, I mean, like you were saying, there's a lot of different ways to be able to make money with, people doing Airbnbs, or people being able to create at least a lifestyle of luxury to be able to get away from, like, sometimes the foil of everyday life and stuff. Like, you are able to vacation without having to go on vacation. Like, it's, those, they provide just this level of excitement and joy that I think that, like, a lot of people want in life, but sometimes they just don't know how to get there.
Yeah,
So
it turns into a new hobby.
Yeah.
And it's less expensive than assessments at a condo after a big storm.
That is very true.
You can avoid the storm.
You can bring your home with you. Like, oh, you have land on a beach, but you have an Airstream, so you don't have to stay on the beach.
That's right.
So yeah, no, I feel that.
You don't like your neighbor? Pick up and go.
Yeah, there you go. And it makes a lot of sense, just to be able to figure out, like, because again, you said life is life, so changes happen, and then so maybe that change is what you need to get yourself into an Airstream, because maybe life just isn't lifing as you want it to, and you're like, man, I need to get away, and this is the way to get away, but also at the same time have somewhat sort of like a modicum of control too, because you can go where you want to, but at the same time, if this is your home, you have the comfort of your home wherever you're at.
That's right.
And it's cool.
And you have a tiny home that you can sell.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, just like a little compound of Airstreams.
That's right. Well, I have several clients that have compounds of Airstreams. That's for sure.
That is very cool, though.
I have one really, really good client. He actually has 25 in Georgia, and he puts up PTSD victims from the military veterans.
Wow.
While they're going through recovery, they can stay in Airstreams on his property. And
that's very
they
cool.
do a lot of different excursions and things on the property, and it's definitely a labor of love.
Yeah. Wow, that's really cool. That's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's, again, like you were saying, the community of people is very giving. So I mean, that kind of just sounds like just another story of like why it would be like important to know, hey, like you got a community of people here that like care.
That's right.
They care.
That's right.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, before we get out of here, is there anything that you would like to just let people know just about you, about your business, or anything like that?
Well, as Sergio mentioned, we are online at CarpeAluminumRV.com, and you'll be able to see all of our inventory there. The name of my company is Sean Crimmins Professional RV Consultant, LLC, and I'm on Facebook with that. So that's a great way to get information about us. We are growing, so stay tuned, and you'll be able to see how we're growing.
And I mean, maybe if we got it set up for you right now, we might be able to give people a little bit of a taste of what your commercial can look like. You cool with that?
I'm good with that.
Cool. All right. Well, appreciate y'all hanging out with us today. I'm Sergio on Offbeat inside of Quasi Studios, brought to you by All This Entertainment. We've been sitting here with Sean Crimmins from CarpeAluminumRV, and check out his website again, CarpeAluminumRV.com, and check out the inventory, and just check out what the community of people are, because there actually is a forum on there for a community, right?
Yes.
And you can kind of check it out and just get to know some of the people, get to know like the different areas that you can see yourself, like, and imagine yourself in the mountains and the forest and, out by a lake or something like that. So
That's right.
But cool. Well, hope you'll be able to stick around. We got the commercial that we've been working on for the last month or so. So we hope you like it, and we'll see y'all next time.
At Carpe Aluminum RV, we're here to make your RV dreams a reality. Whether you're buying or selling, we've got you covered every step of the way. With nationwide delivery, financing options, and full post-sale support, we ensure a seamless experience from start to finish. Selling? Maximize your return with our expert team. And if you're buying, trust in our Airstream Master Certification, backed by 8 years of experience in sales, service, and parts. We're available 7 days a week. Have questions? Contact Sean Crimmins or visit us at CarpeAluminumRV.com.